Really excited to be here with Dr. Adam Broussard, anesthesiologist by day and commercial and residential painter by night, or something like that, or maybe I have it inverted. But really excited to have you here.
I think it all mixes together, but excited to be here too.
Awesome. Well, it's not every day you meet an anesthesiologist who also has a painting business in the works. So, would love to kind of hear how did you get into it? Was this always part of the plan to expand to other industries or?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's complicated. I've been out of training for about 10 years now. Started off kind of doing the normal thing, paying off student loans, paying off, the house and index funds and all that good stuff. About 4 years ago now, I kind of started branching out and joining other organizations with non-medical people.
Sure.
A lot of other entrepreneurial organizations kind of opened my eyes to what else is out there, what else you can do. Started looking at businesses, interested in like learning more about business. So I've always been a W-2 employed physician.
And you've been involved in kind of the S&B Twitter and a few other groups over the past couple of years on the investing side. Imagine you went through do I buy an existing, do I buy a franchise? Do I start a small business from scratch? What attracted you to the franchise route?
Yeah. So probably, peripherally for pretty much the past 4 years, kind of looking more seriously, the past probably 2 or 3 years. Some of the groups I'm in have been in contact with a lot of pretty successful franchisees and other business owners, but kind of talked to them, got some of their advice, ultimately decided that, if this is going to be somewhat on the side, I'm still very actively involved, but I didn't want to sign long-term, like triple net leases and do build outs and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to get going.
Sure.
So kind of switched to looking more toward some of the home services. So that's ultimately how I ended up with That One Painter.
That's awesome. When you think about That One Painter, I was looking it up. You have 140 locations, a decent amount in the Southeast, but only 3 in Louisiana, counting yourself. I guess A, what attracted you to that franchise specifically? And then B, what does success in Adams World look like? Are you going to expand throughout Louisiana or go into other different services? Curious to kind of hear what your grand plan is.
So the fact that, Louisiana is kind of an all seasons market with painting, there wasn't any one kind of big player in painting that, I could find. It's a simpler business to understand. You didn't have to have a plumbing license, master plumbing license. You didn't need, the HVAC specialized crews and stuff like that. Like that was definitely draws to it. That One Painter specifically had a program more for that middle management also. So the fact that they were actively kind of helping with that rather than some of the other franchises that just say you can do it, but you've got to kind of figure it out was also a draw.
That's awesome. What do the build out costs look like for setting up a new franchise?
So, I mean, they vary. Getting the truck wrapped, leasing versus buying will vary. And even between our different leases, the price varied because some were able to, roll in the tag and title and taxes and all that. And the other one wasn't. I mean, otherwise it was, licensing, insurance, and then kind of employment stuff.
You mentioned that painting is relatively simple. I'd be curious, what is the anatomy of a job? So you start as a lead, you then go to some estimate phase, if you don't mind walking me through.
So yeah, we get the leads in. We are currently using, a third-party call center. So whether the client calls in directly or it comes in from, Facebook or Google form or whatever, that call center, I believe, has like 11 touch points to try to schedule it. If they don't get it scheduled, one of my team members will try, giving people a call. Once we set the estimate, our personal setup is that they get a text confirmation, an email confirmation. In that confirmation, we about a month ago, created a video about like what to expect at your estimate. So wonderful acting by our team.
That's awesome.
So they get that video, they, have it confirmed. No deposit. We offer free estimates. We've got, our Seymour that it notifies them when we click on the way. They can track us getting there. It tells them who's coming. Get there, get a kind of general idea of the scope and what they're looking for. And our estimator will go take measurements, do their thing, and kind of sit down and go through the proposal, talk about what the investment will be to get it done, make sure everything aligns. Once we have decided to move forward, we do take a deposit. We typically will do a 50% deposit and, try to work with their schedule and when they want it done, what time constraints they have, get it scheduled, find the appropriate, crews that can do what they're looking for best. Sometimes it does involve some carpentry work or, one crew will be better at cabinets than the other one's, better on exterior type stuff. So making sure to match the appropriate crews, which is a benefit of us. We're not like we have one crew and they do everything. Like we can kind of match who's going to do the best thing for their house.
And in terms of the inventory, so like the paint that you need, all of that is bought on a per job basis. Is that right? Like it's not like you're keeping it running.
Yeah, no inventory.
And on average, how long does a job take?
Well, some of them are a day and some of them are months.
Months.
It kind of depends. Back to some of that learning stuff, like, you can have, a deck staining job. Like if there's some bad boards, you have to replace those boards, but the pressure treated lumber, you have to let dry. So Louisiana, it rains a lot.
Sure.
So we've had some that, we started in September, October, that finally dried enough last month that we could actually stain it. So learning things like that's two jobs. That's not one job.
Sure.
That is the repair job and then the staining job, because basically we did everything. Only had the deposit and then we just sat for months.
Right.
Going over every couple of days to see what the moisture content of the wood was. But, working capital wise was a difficulty, trying to get stuff closed out.
I imagine.
And other jobs when you're like waiting on other contractors to do stuff,
Sure.
Similar like issues that we've had. So working with the team to kind of figure those things out.
So the amount of time that you may spend on a job may not be that much, but in terms of the other, whether it's waiting for the wood to dry or waiting on another contractor to do their bit, that's what can really stretch out a job and from a working capital perspective, not be as pretty.
Yeah. That's been some of the big stuff. Weather change, like it raining. We had, the miraculous snowstorm of Louisiana. So that, threw a wrench in, the multiple exterior projects we were planning to do that week.
From a team build out perspective, I know you have marketing outsourced, you have an in-house estimator who travels to the site and does estimate, goes over the proposal. What are the other functions that you're typically working with? And are they W-2 or are they contract?
Yeah. So our current team is our estimator does both the estimating and the project management at the moment.
Okay.
The future, we will separate that out. It's a different personality type. I own New Orleans and Baton Rouge territories. So we've joined another mastermind organization specific to painting that we have a call with, later today, meeting with our marketing agency. He's, deals with some of the stuff with when we have more than one employee. He does a lot of business development stuff, getting everything set up with, Benjamin Moore and Sherman Williams and talking back and forth with the bonding agencies and stuff like that. So he took the painting licensing exam and I'm taking the general contracting exam next week. So never thought I was going to be taking a test like that again.
It may be a little bit easier than the boards.
Hope so. It's open book, so that helps.
Yeah,
Just a lot of books.
A lot of books. And then the painting crews themselves, I imagine they're on a contract or commission only basis.
It depends on the job. Typically, it ends up being kind of a percentage of what we're being paid. Some stuff involves a little more work or different skills. We'll work with them to build some of the more complicated estimates. But yeah, we pay them a week in arrears of, what they've completed the week before.
And are you assembling the crew, or is it kind of these independent road crews that are, good at carpentry or good at exterior, and then the head honcho there and are working with them, or are you kind of bringing people in piecemeal and putting them together?
No, so we're finding crews that are established crews, working with the crew lead, and getting everything set up, and then that crew lead kind of manages their people. We do everything with the lead.
Now that you're involved in the painting business, what would you say is the biggest surprise that you didn't appreciate prior to starting that one painter in Baton Rouge?
I think in general business, being more cognizant and looking at the P&L and budgeting and whatnot, it theoretically should be pretty working capital positive, but there's a lot of hurdles to overcome to get to that point. Louisiana government is not necessarily the most helpful sometimes. Sure. So that is partly why I'm taking the GC exam, is just we couldn't get clear answers as to what we needed. We were initially told that we needed this particular just home improvement license. We got that and then learned that we couldn't do jobs over $50,000, but then they couldn't tell us exactly what we needed to do a job over $50,000. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I can do whatever I want if I have a GC license.
Sure.
So did that. Then along the way, they're like, oh no, you need this painting and sandblasting one, which was listed under industrial. And we're like, well, we're not doing industrial stuff. And they're like, yeah, but you still need that one. And so it was kind of a mess. So,
oh my God. When you look out at other painting franchises or painting contractors generally, what would you say separates good from great? Is it the estimation piece or the marketing engine top of funnel?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is the professionalism. When we were starting off, we got quotes from, other competitors. One of them, which was another franchise, he set a time, then didn't show up. Then it was would call me and be like, oh, I'm 20 minutes away. I'll come now. And then showed up an hour later.
Oh man.
And stuff like that, because we have a large number of crews that were able to kind of pick and choose who does what job, I think has been a big thing. We're in a real established business, so where to find us.
Sure.
If something goes wrong, there's hundreds of other that one painters. You have that guarantee. We have a 3-year guarantee, not only for the paint, but for the workmanship also. My big thing also, personally, is that it's hands off for the homeowner. You're not going to have to sit there and stare at the painters, making sure it is being done correctly, because we have that project management portion, arm. We're going to make sure it's done right before we even bring you in to check it.
This time next year, we chat again. Where do you want to be at that one painter?
So the goal we've set is, hit $2 million in residential. We should have, the Baton Rouge locations open and go from there. My sales guy is very heavily on some of the commercial side. He's been involved in that kind of stuff in his prior life. So we, focusing on the residential, but building up that commercial side too.
Awesome. Well, excited to see you crush it and hit that 2 million mark. Thanks so much for coming on, Adam.
Absolutely. Thanks, William.